Hi guys, welcome to this week's Warlord Wednesday. So this week we've got the tournament report from last Sunday. Please hit the subscribe button and follow along with the channel. I ended up playing my US list. Picture of it on the screen at the moment. So we had an all regular army, first lieutenant plus one man, 8 reg infantry squads with a NCO SMG and a BAR. We had a medium mortar plus spotter, medium artillery plus spotter, flamethrower team, bazooka team, 2.5 ton truck with a Pintle MMG, and a regular M3A1 Stuart with recce upgrade. So there was 22 players altogether, split up between Axis and Allied. I was on the Allied side, obviously, with the US. So round 1, we played scenario 3 key positions, and we rolled up for the objectives, and we ended up rolling up, so we had 3. This is a picture of the start of the round, and you can see the 3 objectives marked with the poker chips on the table. My US forces are obviously this side of the table, and I was playing Italians. We both had 12 order dice. Yeah, so my opponent had Italian black shirts. With it being 3 objectives, it was quite simple. The one who held the most objectives at the end of the game was the winner. If you look at the pictures, it started off, I went for the objective on my left hand side, and we sort of both went in the middle, and the first 2 rounds went okay. I did start to lose a few guys. As the rounds went on, it managed to kill a squad that I had on my left hand side and clear out the crew from my artillery. I managed to secure the objective on the right hand side, and I had 4 squads going up through the centre. There was a lot of pinging backwards and forwards between his tank and my Stuart, to a point where at one point my Stuart had 7 pins on it before it actually went. It didn't actually get destroyed, it actually got outpinned, and it ended up with 9 pins on it when it went bang. It set on fire twice. It just didn't want to die. But anyway, I lost the round, and the score was 10-2 to the Italians. However, as I said, because we were playing Allies versus Axis, the Allies actually won that first round. So although I lost, it was still a win for the Allies side, with no help from me, obviously. So then we went on to round 2. Okay, round 2, I was drawn against a German list. Again, it was 12 order dice, but it was more of a conventional list. There were a couple of trucks with one had a 10-man Pioneer squad in with a flamethrower. Another one had a full 10-man squad in. There's a couple of smaller squads. Doug H42 was engrossed in the game and didn't take as many pictures, so there's not as many to watch as I'm talking. This game we played was scenario 12 sectors. So we set the table up and obviously split the table into 4, and the scoring works out. You get 1 point for each unit in the neutral corners, 3 points for each unit you've got in your enemy deployment zone, and you get 1 victory point for every unit you destroy. You start off, you deploy everything 12 inches away from the centre. So if you can see in the picture, I sort of fanned out round the centre here. You can see houses in the centre, and then there's a field with a wall around it. So I put my units behind the wall, in hoping of getting the 2+ protection from it and taking out the enemy as they approached. I put a squad on my left hand side on ambush in case he brought one of his units on from reserves on that side, but forgetting that in this scenario you can actually come on any side. So we actually brought the truck on right next to where one of my squads were, avoiding the squad that was on ambush. He advanced his truck up across the table, and then because I was that far over, he got the squad of pioneers out and managed to flamethrower my squad, and he wiped out an 8-man squad straight away in that turn. And then on the next turn, again, he got all the dice out before me. He got the first one out of the bag, and he advanced the squad again and burnt another squad off. So in a space of 10 minutes, I lost 2 8-man squads. This game was a really hard game. Not so much because my opponent had a really nasty list. There was no nasty lists. The problem I had was I was rolling terrible. In the whole of this game, I think I rolled 2 6s. It was absolutely appalling. I needed 6s to hit most of the time because we were behind walls. If you look at the picture with the 4 buildings in the field, we were sort of either side of the walls, so we had hard cover. So it was long range hard cover. It was 6s to hit all the time, and I just couldn't get a 6, and I was getting a bit frustrated with this game actually. Again, I lost near enough all my units, and it ended up, when the scores were added up, I lost this really bad. I think it was 27-2. Really, really bad result. And the Axis forces won round 2. So going into the third round, it was Allied had won the first, Axis had won the second. So it would be down to whichever side won the third round would be the outcome of the tournament. Round 3, I was drawn against a German Fallschirmjäger list, and it was only 7 order dice with it all being veterans. Again, it was a Stug, 2 half tracks with MMGs, and I think it was 3 squads, 2 10-man and 1 6-man squads of Fallschirmjäger, and a bazooka team and the officer. I think that's what the list was. There's a picture of it on the screen. Unfortunately, I completely forgot about taking pictures, and when I went to take some, my phone was flat. So unfortunately, there's not really any pictures. So what I'll do is I'll just put the pictures I took up of all the lists. Everybody sort of put their armies on the table during lunchtime. I took a couple of pictures of them for people to vote for their favourite army. Now, it wasn't best painted army, it was favourite themed army. As we were doing like an Italian, the Italian underbelly event, it was. So the guy who I played in round 1, Simon, won it with his Italian black shirts. Anyway, back to round 3. Because we were playing double envelopment, this is the one where you have to, each side, you score points by getting, you get 2 points if you get into your opponent's deployment zone, and 3 points if you get off the other side of the table. So we started, I managed to deploy first. My opponent put half of his army in reserve, because we had to both have half in reserves. And the half that he brought on, he brought on one squad, his HQ and Panzer Shrek team. He put them all in one of the Hanemags and just drove the Hanemag halfway across the table, and that was it. That was everything on in one go. The rest of his stuff he left in reserve. So it was sort of, it gave me the opportunity to deploy where I wanted to. So put a couple of squads on my extreme left flank with the mortar team, and put the mortar spotter on the right side of the table. I put my howitzer on the right side of the table and put the spotter on the left side of the table. That way I had sort of good field of view for both weapons for the HA. This table was quite well built up. There's a lot of buildings on it, so using the spotter and the artillery, it gave me a greater field of fire. The rest of the stuff I brought on the right hand side to engage with the German forces. My plan was the stuff that was on my left hand side was just going to run across the table, try and get off my opponent's edge and score points. And the stuff that was on the right hand side was to engage the Fallschirmjäger to try and hold them up and stop them from getting off my side of the table. So the game went quite well. I managed to roll sixes this time. I did feel sorry for my opponent. He had 5 order dice less than me, which meant I got priority. I got to go first near enough every round, and I was able to drop me mortar and me artillery on him, and the game ended 9-7 to me. So there was a victory for my US in the third and final round. So when all the scores were all added up, and believe it or not, after 22 players playing 33 games of bolt action, it came down to about 2 points in it for the whole tournament. So it was a really close tournament. It was thoroughly enjoyable. Am I glad I was on the winning team? Yeah. Did I contribute much to the team winning? No, not really. But it was billed as a fun event anyway. It wasn't a out and out competitive event. But it was thoroughly enjoyable. So there you go, guys. A victory to the Allies in the tournament. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next time.